Well, welcome back to Thruxton. Just to remind you that the third round of the MCE British Superbikes is coming to you from Alton Park in Cheshire. Live qualifying and the rescheduled Brands Hatch race. That's on Sunday, the 6th of May, 1:20 in the afternoon for that, 12:30 in the afternoon on Monday, the 7th of May, Bank Holiday Monday, for the live race action. And you can see all of that on British Eurosport 2. Right, let's go on then with the three-wheelers, and it's time for the Eastern Airways British Sidecar Championship. So let's go over to our commentators as the lads get underway on their sighting lap. It's James Whittam and Jack Bernicle.
The Eastern Airways British Sidecar Championship. These guys have already had a race this weekend. Yesterday was won by Lovelock and Lawrence, who won the first race, remember, at Brands Hatch in rather different conditions, and they beat Holland and Watson into second place yesterday, and third place went to Edwards and Barrett. It meant that Lovelock Lawrence now have a 21-point lead in the championship, because their main rivals at Brands Hatch, the Birchall brothers and Team Ribs and Ashley Halls, both absent on World Championship duty this weekend at Magny-Cours in France. So that means that Lovelock Lawrence, they are the guys on top of the pile, 61 points. The Birchall brothers still in second place on 40. James Lawson third on 35. Tim Reeves and Ashley Halls fourth on 34, ahead of Holland and Watson on 30. And York Steinhausen and Gregory Clues on 26. They also away on World Championship duty this weekend. Laurie and Neve 7th on 25, ahead of Clark and Graham on 20, Ruterholt and Alto on 19, and Edwards Barrett on 16 points in 10th. 11th for Gray on 15, Kershaw on 13, level with Horsepole and Holden, the former champion. Young on 9, ahead of Andy Peach on 8, Lambert 8, Smith 7, Chaplow 6, and Drown and Edwards on 6 points. The grid looks like this, with Lovelock and Lawrence on the front row alongside Holland and Watson, and then the second row has Edwards and Barrett alongside Reuterholt and Alto. The third row has James and Lawson alongside Kershaw and Wilson. Fourth row, Clark and Graham with Horsepole and Briggs. The fifth row has Lambert and Smithies alongside Drown and Edwards. And then row 6, Guy and Webb with Robinson and Farmer. And that's about it, really. We go all the way back to Abbott and Sharp on row 11, so it's a pretty packed grid. But there's one thing about this circuit: there's lots of room for these guys to work around here, rather differently perhaps from the Brands Hatch Indy circuit.
Absolutely, yeah, a lot more open, a lot more room, a lot wider circuit.
So we'll be looking for the man of pole position, Roger Lovelock, to make the break with his passenger Rick Lawrence, already handily leading the championship with the number 49 machine, and they streak to the front.
Yeah. Watch out for John Holt and Andy Winkle. They DNF'd yesterday, so they're right back on the back of the grid. They had an engine problem, looked for them to go fairly quick.
Well, they were the former champions. They'll have to work hard to get back.
They will,
there,
yeah, a lot of passing to do from there.
And also, eventually, did they ever manage to win a TT after being thwarted by Klaus Klaffenbach?
By about a second, yeah, they did when it managed to win a TT, and it was very emotional last year.
I bet it was.
It was.
For Holden and Winkle. At the front, though, it's Lovelock Lawrence at the front at the moment. Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence lead the way. They won the first race on Saturday at Brands Hatch, and then, of course, they found themselves behind the 3 World Championship contenders on Sunday at Brands Hatch just a week ago. Those guys are now away at Magny-Cours on World Superbike action in the opening round of the World Superbike Series. Sorry, the World Sidecar Racing Series. And that means that that really leads the door wide open for Roger Lovelock. Wow, what was that?
What was that all about?
That was pretty impressive.
It was.
And whose outfit was that? Number 72.
That was 72.
It was Scott Laurie and James Neve.
Yep.
A lucky 2 racing. They were lucky there for the lads from Edinburgh, and they scorched their way through, didn't they?
I thought
into third place, and they got past Reuterholt and Alt on that lap. And there's already a problem for number 6, Mark Edwards and Lee Barrett. They're from Ringwood, just down the road in Hampshire, and they're already out here at Thruxton in their home county.
Yeah, for those who don't know a lot about these sidecars, these are actually the bigger outfits, longer. They work completely different to the Formula 2. They can have up-centre steering, they can be a lot longer. You can see how long they are. also the 1000cc engine, so a lot quicker. And around this circuit, the right-handed circuit, obviously the sidecars on the left, so on the right-handers, which predominantly this circuit is, they've got a lot of grip and a lot of rubber on the floor. So quick around to these fast corners.
And the lap in that first lap, 124.5 for Lovelock Lawrence. That was an impressive first lap. Yeah, but now they're just beginning to get clawed back slightly, perhaps. The people in second place were Ben Holland and Lee Watson on the Team JH racing bike, the LCR Suzuki. So many of these are LCR chassis. I think that's the Loomball Scots that's in second, look. It is already, it is. Laurie and Lee. Yeah. Wow. Forgive me for calling you loom balls, but it did seem to fit. So the number 72 machine then has really made a move through, and in fact lapped at 1 minute 19.112 seconds. That's impressive, James. It is. And you'll see that Roy Holt and his passenger there they're in fourth place. He's paraplegic. He gets lifted into his outfit, and he's really quick. He's Johan Reuterfeld and Reuterfeld, sorry, and he works the gears. Another problem there for the number 10 machine now. Rod Robinson and Roy Farmer. Robinson Racing from Farnborough, again a local team, LCR Yamaha. They've rolled off the track as well. Yep, second in the shot there. That is Johan Reuterfeld. And he's, like I said, paraplegic. He works the gears from electric shift on his left-hand handlebars, and all the brakes, instead of being normal, it's in the right foot. All three wheels of these sidecars are brake with the right foot. On his, it's a front brake lever that works all, through a servo, works all the wheels. There he is. It looks really impressive. The man from Balster in Sweden, and of course Aki Aalto is Finnish. They're from Kouvola. Kouvola. There used to be a circuit in Kouvola. They had an F1 race there. Yep, that's right, race there, yep. Good place, Finland. Nice looking women. And those are the two. Oh, we've lost a passenger. Lost a passenger. That's number 29, Steve Kershaw. He's lost Robin Wilson. He has lost Robin. Robin, where are you? Yeah. Holy macaroni or whatever he's lost Robin. Well, I'm glad he realised before he tipped over without the ballast. There he is. Oh, frustrated Robin there. But otherwise... And they're dropping down because they were in a pretty healthy position in that race as well, the Kershaws. The Kershaw had qualified well. I tell you what, let's hope that's a club chicane, because you really wouldn't want to fall out of one of these things anywhere else. No, you wouldn't, would you? Now, Roger Lovelock under a bit of pressure then. The firefighter from Marlborough is coming under a little bit of pressure from the Scotsman Laurie. Yep, and his passenger there, Rick Lawrence, is down as washing machine repairman. What a great thing to do on your weekend. On your weekend, yeah. More exciting than fixing a washing machine. Right now, Scott Laurie and James Neve on the Lucky 2 racing machine, the LCR machine there, number 72, closed the gap a little bit more, although they were absolutely level pegging on tyres with 120 zeros on the last lap. But he's very strong on the brakes, he's number 72, Laurie. Very strong, yeah. Both Suzuki-powered outfits, GSXR 1000 engines. But still, Roger Lovelock. Roger Lovelock has supplied us with some details of his achievements during the course of his career. We may have lost the... no, Reuterhold has come through. Past, yeah, Reuterhold is through to third place. Third, yeah. Gone wide there, though. He's passed Ben Holland and Lee Watson. Team JH Racing. And behind them, James and Lawson in fifth, Clark Graham in sixth. Andy Peach, who we last saw as years back riding as passenger to Ian Guy in the World Championship, is in 8th place. He always did want to become a driver. Yeah, and you know what? So much of how much power can be put down from these big, powerful sidecar outfits is down to what the passenger is doing. He's going to get all the weight when the bike's accelerating over that. There's only one wheel driven, that's obviously the back wheel on the bike, not the sidecar, and you've got to get all the weight over it so it digs in and actually goes forward. Otherwise, if you just sit in the sidecar, it just spins, it will not go forward. Notice how their legs stick out at the far side. It's always an unnerving sight to see that ankle and foot hanging out beside the sidecar wheel, even when they're over the other side. I've been on one of these and there's no room. There's absolutely no room. You try and kneel down, you can't get down enough. You try and sort of slot onto one side of your backside, you can't get down enough. If you lay down, your feet stick out and your head sticks out the other way. So they're not made for comfort, these things. 6 laps complete out of 14. Lovelock and Lawrence lead by just under half a second from Laurie and Neve. Reuter, Holt and Aalto in 3rd place. Holland, Watson 4th. James and Lawson cross the line in 5th.
if you get to see these things without the bodywork on, there's about 3 or 4 clips, the bodywork lifts off, and they're almost a sandwich of carbon fibre and aluminium riveted and bonded together in like a big sort of box section that runs front to back. They're a real trick-looking thing. If you can imagine a real trick-looking race car, but in a different shape, that's what they like. It's not welded tubular steel like we see to the Formula 2 outfits. They're a lot trickier than those.
This is a bit fascinating at the front because
another
passenger
passenger's out.
Well, we're really depositing them here in the Eastern Airways British Sidecar Championship. That was a nice tidy roll, 10 out of 10 for style.
Yeah, and you know what happens? It's when coming out of the chicane, a lot of power's going down, the bike slips sideways, and then when it grips, it'll throw them out. That's number 58. That'll be Kyle Young and Stephen Mullen. They're out of it. There he goes. That's what happened. Yeah, he didn't kick sideways, he just hit the curb and just fired him out. No suspension, about 1.5 inches of movement. That's all they've got, so nothing to soak. That's compared with something like about 3 inches on a solo.
Scott Lorry and James Neve, look, number 72 outfit, right back with the leaders, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. So Scott Lorry, Scottish scaffolder, Scott Lorry running in second place. Hounding now Lovelock, who won yesterday and won the first race of the series at Brands Hatch and currently leads the championship.
Yeah, you'd have to think that Lovelock will be wanting to capitalise on the absence of the Birchall brothers and of Reeves. They're both doing World Championship duty.
At the moment, incidentally, just checking now, Lorry and Neve only 25 points so far to their name, so they are down in about 7th or 8th place in the championship. They certainly need the points. Well, I don't know, they see that there's certain points where they seem to really be able to claw back some time, and then round the back of the course there, Lovelock just seems to be able to tramp away from them. Yeah,
it does seem to have more grip, or I don't know, just more traction around the faster part.
Outright pace, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he might just have a little bit more horsepower, but this is the place now where Lorry and Neve are quick braking. They seem to got that bike perfectly set up for the brakes, so they drag yards and yards out of Lovelock and Lawrence into that club chicane.
They're both on LCR Suzuki, so they're both on GSXR 1000 motors.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but different tuning houses. All these are almost always built by the rider and passenger themselves on their own. You know, it's not like they buy a finished article. They buy the bits, tune their own engine, and then go racing. You know, so there is scope for the to be different kind of states of tune of engines. Lovelock and Lawrence now just getting a little bit of a gap.
And these LCR chassis that are built in Switzerland by Louis Christian.
Louis Christian Racing LCR.
They have, but they're pretty much dominated. They've won something like 28 or 24 titles between 1979 and 2011. That's impressive.
There's also one manufacturer of chassis out there called Terry Windle, and they're made in, not Switzerland, Sheffield, lad.
Aye, well,
the Windles.
There's one in Switzerland, one in Sheffield, who are the main chassis builders.
Yep.
And we're checking out number
74. That was, I think.
Was that 74? Bygrave and Knapp?
I think so.
We're on the 8th lap of 14. Lovelock and Lawrence have an advantage now of 1.8 seconds over Lorry and Neve. Reuterholt and seems to have made that third place his own at the moment. John Reuterholt with Aki Alto in the chair.
They'll be dead pleased with the rostrum here, I've got to say. Good bloke as well.
Yeah, very engaging man when you spoke to him.
Yeah, and it turns out...
There's number 4, Andy Peach. Number 4, Andy Peach, enjoying having an outing. And as we check back now then, hey, look at this. Lorry and Neve have slowed right down. They've been caught by Reuterholt.
Yep.
Lorry and Neve last lap, 122.173. Did they have a moment? There's the Swede right behind.
They've had a moment, or they've got a problem. They seem to have slowed generally. They go, I think that's Holland and Watson back in front for third with Reuterholt.
So right now there is the number 72 machine. Perhaps he just made a big mistake on that lap.
Perhaps he did, yep.
Because he's drawing away again, I think.
He is, yep. There's Holland and Watson now in third. Johan Reuterfeld and Aki. What's his last name? What's the passenger's last name? Aki Alto. What a good name that is.
It is, isn't it? Aki Alto. So Ben Holland, Lee Watson. Ben Holland, an electrician from Havant. moves through now into third place and looks to be challenging hard. I think Scott Lorry's got some real opposition here for second place as he pulls out of the slipstream, gives himself plenty of width on the run down. We know how late Lorry is on the brakes, but this time for once he is out-braked.
I tell you what, Lorry's outfit just doesn't look to have the speed. I think you're right. I don't know whether it's tickled a valve or whether it's just down somehow, just a few horsepower, because in the corners he looks really good.
As they cross the line, look, he's decided he's going to have another move. But he just hadn't any rush of speed to get through there first. Roger Lovelock has an advantage of 5.4 seconds over these guys. This the fourth race in the Eastern Airways British Championship Series.
Yeah, they were the only class at Brands that managed to get 2 races off, one on the Sunday night, one on the Monday. In fact, it was the last race of the day after some of the sidecar, some of the solo classes were actually cancelled due to the slippy track. The sidecar boys said, yeah, we're not bothered, we'll go out. But actually, you're in a lot better position to spin and slide in these. Yeah, they don't just tip up like a solo does.
They can, and I think they can begin to look even more dramatic.
They said they quite enjoyed it, most of them, when I spoke to them.
Roger Lovelock still at the front. Second place for Holland. Third place for Lorry. Fourth place, Reuter Halter. Just checking back slightly, number 3, Barry James with Callum Lawson in the chair on their LCR Suzuki are in 5th place. 6th place for number 90. That's John Clark with Stuart Graham in the chair, presumably not the Stuart Graham who used to race factory Suzukis many years ago.
And when you add up, you know, these things are probably about 180, 190 brake horsepower from these 1000cc stock-based engines, and the whole outfit and the two way up. And there is something wrong with the outfit of Lorry's. Yeah, there is definitely. It's just slow. It just looks to have lost a lot of speed.
He's on the 11th lap of 14 now. The struggle with the test is for him to finish, James.
It is.
At the moment, let's just check who's next across the line. It's number 3, Barry James should be next up, but there's a substantial margin, about 10 seconds. But now he's got 4 laps in which he's got to hang on to that.
And he seems to be getting going again. It's weird. It seems to, whether it's a fuel starvation problem, and you know, when it's been flat out for a long time, it's used it up. I don't know. It's certainly slowing, and more so on the faster parts of the course.
On the 11th lap of 14, it's beginning to look like a bit of a showdown. These two have been together pretty much throughout the race, Holland and Reuterholt, and it's beginning to look like it'll come down to a contest between those two for these rostrum positions.
Yep.
Is the Swede going to do every one of the rounds?
Yeah, I think he is. He's looking for sponsorship. He likes racing over here, and there's competition for him in his sidecar over here. Not that much by way of a full-running sidecar races in Sweden, apparently. So yeah, he loves it. And one thing about being from Sweden, you probably even like the British weather. Oh, is it close? This is close. They're going to touch. Ooh.
That could damage it. Oh, look, don't stick your foot out, please. You don't want to stick your foot out there. You'll get your foot ripped off. Well, dear me.
Wouldn't matter that much for Reuterholt.
No, I was talking about the passenger.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Sorry, you wouldn't mind me saying that.
And actually, he's raced in the TT. Right. Look at this. Look, this is where they were close.
Touch there.
But look, when
watch this. Watch,
foot goes out there. No.
Here.
Kick it off.
That's got worked a bit.
Well, the sidecar wheel pawing the air. So Ben Holland, number 60, who's riding this LCR Suzuki. He started passengering in 2001, became a driver in 2000. Sorry, he started driving in 2006. BMC champion 2007 in the F2 class before moving into the big boys. 2008, he was BMC champion in the F1 class. But he's got a lot on his hands now, and look at the pace of the Swedish outfit, cutting inside, side by side. Now,
nothing in them. There's nothing in them
Reuterholt has a chance coming down as they come down the hill.
Reuterholt with another Suzuki powered unit.
Ooh, and again, he can't quite squeeze through. There'll be 2 more laps to try it. We're coming to the conclusion. Onto the 13th lap goes the leader, Roger Lovelock. This is the battle going on for second place.
There is no room with them things. Almost rubbing it. She's got the inside line as Reuterholt into Allard.
And it might be enough.
It's not. I don't think it is.
No. Correct.
Correct.
Laurie and Neve still there in 4th place, but now 7 seconds adrift.
Back markers come into view. Let's have a look. Yep.
Howling Those across the frame 4-cylinder engine.
Yeah, and that's when they hit a bump, the wheel of the driving wheel, the rear wheel lifts up and it just spins up, and that's when you hear the revs build up.
James Lawson in 5th place and now 6.3 seconds behind the ailing Scott Lorry in 4th. And there's number 91's going to get out of the way. That's Liam Abbott.
Yeah.
Now, Abbott Racing from Riddings. That must be the son of the great Steve Abbott, former world champion.
I'm assuming, yeah. Yep.
Not got his dad's gift yet. Bit of work to do then.
Not done as much.
That's true. Steve didn't win the championship till he was 127 years old, so you might be right. But they come scorching down past Liam Abbott, breaking into...
Who lets his brakes off.
He lets his brakes off and stays well out of the way. Now, on to the final lap goes Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. This, the battle for 2nd place. Still Ben Holland and Lee Watson fending off Reuterholt and Alty.
And just about doing enough at this point.
Lovelock Lawrence, number 49, number 60, Holland Watson, 27, Reuterholt and Alto. Sorry to give him his correct name. Oh, look at that, beautiful. Skimming the tarmac with the sidecar wheel, Ben Holland.
Yeah, they can actually, they're that good with them, they can lift it up over the curb so it doesn't bang. Yeah. They can actually just loft it and then let it back down again.
And I think Scott Lorry's going to have he lost 2 more seconds on that lap, but I think he's going to hang on for 4th place, which would be a precious 13 points. Here comes Roger Lovelock on the lime green outfit. He's leading the way. Roger Lovelock, Team JH Racing.
What he needs to do is buy...
Sorry,
he needs to buy Rick Lawrence another pair of leathers. They're baggy as.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah.
They do seem to flap enough. I know they're going fast, but they do seem very flappy.
Yep. Skinny fit, that's what you want, boy.
Skinny fit, like James's new jeans. Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence on the Driver Wolf Racing LCR Suzuki. Dives through the final chicane. And Lovelock takes his 3rd victory out of 4 races in the Eastern Airways Sidecar Championship. 2nd place should and does go to Ben Holland with Lee Watson in the chair, just ahead of John Reuterholt, number 27. Great ride by the Swede with Aki Aalto of Finland in the chair. Looking for Scott Lorry coming across the line. Scott Lorry finishes in 4th place, so he hangs on to that. Oh, and there's the famous headstand that Rick Lawrence is renowned for. Just to entertain the crowd, just showing off. Yes, can you do that? It would be pretty impressive if he did that through a race.
It'd be pretty impressive on a solo.
So Roger Lovelock, who's rather modestly said that this sheet isn't big enough when we gave him a sheet of paper to fill in his career achievements. The 2006 European champions, 2009 British champions, 2011 British Championship runners-up, and the only team to have raced at every British Championship round since 2007. Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence take victory here at Thruxton in the 2nd Eastern Airways sidecar race of the weekend. And that will mean that he'll go to 86 points in the championship. A very, very handy lead indeed for the 48-year-old firefighter from Marlborough in Wiltshire. Marlborough is in Wiltshire, isn't it?
I believe so. I've seen a sign for it just up the road here.
So Lovelock and Lawrence take victory. 2nd place for Ben Holland, the electrician from Havant, with his passenger Lee Watson from Rayleigh in Essex, and then Reuterholt of Sweden and Aalto of Finland share 3rd place on outfit number 27. And then we've got the number 72 outfit, Scott Lorry and James Neve from Edinburgh on their LCR Suzuki finish 4th. 5th place for number 3, Barry James and Callum Lawson, JL Racing from Retford in Nottinghamshire. Another LCR Suzuki, tends to be the popular machine of choice at the moment. Ahead of the 6th place, number 90. That's John Clark, Stuart Graham, Team Clark from Banbridge, another LCR Suzuki. And Max Bagg, I beg your pardon, number 74 in 7th place is Ben Bygrave and Paul Napton, build-based BMW on an LCR BMW, the Norwich-based crew from Norfolk. And in 8th place, it's good to see 48-year-old Andy Peach, originally from Greenhithe in Kent, who used to be a manager of an indoor kart centre at Northfleet in Kent. 48 years old now. He was a passenger to Ian Guy in World Championship racing 10 years ago, and he's finally got himself into driving now. Finishes in 8th place. Lovelock Lawrence take the win. 2nd place Holland Watson. 3rd place for Reuterholt and Alto. 4th place for Laurie and Neve. 5th place for James Lawson ahead of Clark Graham. 7th for Bygrave and Napton ahead of Peach and Richardson. Horsepole and Briggs in 9th. Lambert and Smithies in 10th place. 11th place Drown and Edwards ahead of Abbott and Sharp 12th. And point scorers, I'm not sure whether the others would score points actually, because Abbott and Sharp were the last people running on track, although Stevens, Charlwood, Chaplow and Crow, Young and Mullen round out the top 15. The standings in the Eastern Airways British Sidecar Championship of 2012. Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence on 86 points. Ben Holland goes 2nd on 50. And then James on 46. The Birchall brothers still there on 40 points ahead of Scott Laurie and James Neve on 38. Reuterholt and Alto moving to 6th place on 35. 1 point ahead of the absent Tim Reeves and Ashley Hawes on 34. Clark and Graham on 30. York Steinhausen and Gregory Clues on 26. Horsepole and Briggs on 20. 11th place for Edwards and Barrett, level with Andy Peach and his partner Richardson. Gray on 15 points, Lambert 14, Kershaw 13. John Holden not having a happy time of things, is also on 13 points, the former champion of 2010. Drown and Edwards on 11 points, Bygrave Napton on 9, Young and Mullen on 9, Smith and Morgan on 7.
Well, we are here with our race winners, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. And Roger, we were just saying before the guys came to us that you can't really predict what goes on in this championship because there's a bit of everything, a bit of barging going on right from the start.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's a tyre choice as well, weather, everything's got to do with it, you know. And passengers, you know, you can't predict anything at all. But we're just pleased to be where we are, you know, right at the front. What more can we ask? It's fantastic. And done it on live TV coverage as well, which is great for people to see just what sidecar racing's all about. Well, absolutely, and it's great to be back where sidecars ought to be, up there at the top. Fantastic. Brilliant ride from you. Rick, we saw a few passengers drop out of the outfits there.
I tell you, we've come around here quite a few times with other meetings. We're quite regular here. Both me and Roger only live sort of 20 minutes in either direction from the circuit. This is a hard circuit.
What makes it so difficult?
There's no rest for a passenger. It's a little bit bumpy and everything's done under power. You've got no brakes to help you get into the corners for a passenger to move on. You've got no acceleration out of the corner. It's all smooth. The drivers love it. Passengers. round church, you're trying to be sucked off by a hurricane, and it's hard work, believe you me. You know, it is that thing, and a lot of passengers do struggle because they don't come here very often. Well, we're lucky we do.
There you go, Roger. You've got it easy.
Well, OK, all right, yeah.
Doesn't feel like it, I know. Quickly, just
on about that.
Just before we let you go to the podium, let's just look down with the camera here. Just show everybody your left foot. That's what it takes to be around here. You've gone through a fresh set of boots there, right? Oh, and the passenger and the driver as well, Roger. Guys, very well done on the win. We'll let you go to the podium.
Thank you very much indeed. Awesome.
Yeah. Well done, Rick. Well done, Roger.
Yeah, thanks for that.
There we go. Then the guys are going up there to the podium, and they are such nice people, the sidecar boys. So honest as well. Real good classic racing. Let's have a recap of what happened then with Jack.
Off the start, number 49, Roger Lovelock, looking to make the start. He wanted off pole position. He swept round the outside into Allard's, cleanly ahead of Ben Holland, and that gave him the advantage as they went down towards the first turn. Very quickly, we had one or two problems, although not for Scott Laurie initially, because with some violent out-braking manoeuvres, he cut his way through the pack and ended up close to the front. Meanwhile, people started shedding passengers, frustrated passengers. Steve Kershaw lost his, and they were running well at the time. And then another passenger went missing, bounced out as they went across the curb with minimal suspension on these bikes. Very, very hard to hold on. And for a while, Scott Laurie and James Neve in number 72 really were able to bring the fight to Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. But finally, he's number 72, Scott Laurie just seemed to run out of steam, or certainly the outfit did. Ben Holland took advantage. He and Lee Watson side through into second place, but he still had John Reuterholt to deal with, and in the orange and silver outfit, number 27. The Swede broke through, and he almost colliding with Ben Holland, put everything into that pursuit. but it wasn't enough. And in the end, number 49, Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence, they took victory on their LCR Suzuki ahead of Ben Holland and Lee Watson, and then Reuterholt and Alto, and celebrated in style. So Johan Reuterholt, there he is, sitting quietly on the podium, the Swede with his Finnish passenger, his relatively youthful Finnish passenger. They had a good dust-up with Ben Holland and Lee Watson, who come across to congratulate the Swede and the Finn. Ben Holland from Havant, Watson from Rayleigh, and then Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence, former British champions back in 2009 before they lost that title to John Holden. And Carl McBride comes on to congratulate the top three and present the trophies. The Eastern Airways Sidecar Championship leaders now by a handsome margin. Lovelock and Lawrence, they're going to take a bit of catching, aren't they? There's a second place team, Ben Holland and Lee Watson. And that is, congratulations must be due to the 48-year-old Roger Lovelock and his tall, strong passenger Rick Lawrence, who stayed on board. That was the main thing, to ensure that they got victory for the second time in 2 days here at Thruxton.